Welcome, friends. Welcome to Asian Ecotourism Network webinar series. These series are to bring information and education to the visitors and the ecotourism practitioners, learners, and tourism experts about various case studies, about ecotourism, about the science that is involved in making tourism sustainable. So this is one of our webinars, which is being conducted by Mr. Gana. I will give a brief introduction about him, and then I will let him get on with his slideshow or his presentation to you. Am I audible to everyone? Can you just say yes in the chat if everyone is audible? If I'm audible to everyone, it's I'd like to know if I'm clear. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And welcome once again. I am Mohit Aggarwal. I'm an experiential ecotourism specialist. I'm on the board of Asian Ecotourism Network, and I'm here to facilitate and moderate Dr. Damba Gantemur's presentation and webinar. He's from Mongolia. And let me just quickly give you a bit about Gana. His official name is Mr. Dr. Damba Gantemur. He's a Mongolia-based scholar and tourism expert with SED in Philosophy of Tourism Phenomenon from Mongolian Academy of Science. He has over 2 decades of experience in sustainable tourism, cultural heritage, and community development. He's the founder of Sustainable Tourism Development Center and president of Mongolian Tourism Association. His extensive international project involvement, including Erasmus and UNDP initiatives, have shown results. He's a published author and recognized lecturer, adept in English, Russian, German, Dutch, and Tibetan. He's chair of Mongolian Philosophy Society, actively contributing to Mongolia's sustainable tourism growth. So that's a very illustrious CV of Dr. Gana. Over to you, Dr. Gana. Let's see your magic.
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Gana, I will give you the screen share.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm not good. Is it in the shared? My PPT is there?
Yes, absolutely. We can see it.
Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for your time. And thank you for your interest about discussing about the ecotourism in some cultural circumstance landscape. Here we are AEN, Asian Ecotourism Network, having a webinar to discuss about some of the specific issues based on the case studies on certain countries, certain conditions, in parallel with the general global ecotourism issues. So it's my privileged honor to start to share some of our issues and experience on developing ecotourism. So basically the abstract is going into how the tourism developing in our country, but this is not really much about the Mongolia itself, but this is how global topics and themes, issues are grounded in the local area. So of course some pandemic challenge, and then we have to revitalize the tourism, especially ecotourism, in for example, in Mongolia. But still, the key issues related with ecotourism, how it should be go on, and what we have to do, consider based on our country for the ecotourism, how it has to be fit with the local condition, local area, local cultural feature and landscape. And I'm very much arguing about nomadic ecotourism concepts, which means more into the anthropological issues. I mean, instead of having wildlife conservation, but it's more in the local, indigenous, local people conservation, through the local people empowerment, how we should be enrich the key issues of the ecotourism, including conservation, community, and indigenous development, etc. I don't know very well about how you could well known about my country. The Mongolia was sandwiched between two biggest empire, Russia, China, which is the two biggest civilization, two quite a highly important role country in terms of the economy, politically, geographically, but thousands of years of keeping their own national identity, national interest, which how people live together with their unspoiled nature and having happiness together. That means I would like to call it the integration, harmonization between the wildlife, eco, and the human society. That's the reason of why snow leopard project's going very well, why the worldwide biggest fishes or the very rare birds and kind of the wildlife animals are protected, and also the harmonized, integrated with the people and livelihood of the people. And if 3,000 years ago, livelihood is still alive and authentic, that's the most key conclusion of our livelihood, which I would like to call it not only the monument heritage, but living heritage, which is the authenticity keeps within our ordinary life. I'm not sure how's my sound goes on. Everybody can hear me. It's kind of strange.
Dr. Gana,
if I can talk only myself.
Yeah, your voice is a little. Hello, your voice is okay, but it's not too clear. And also on this PPT, on this presentation, if you go down below and you click the last icon, you can actually increase the size of the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah. No, don't do anything. Just take your mouse to the right to the bottom of your screen and go to the right, and you see there's a wine glass made there, and you just click that.
Should I
do you see the notes and comments line, which is just below your picture? The picture. Notes and comments.
Yeah.
Down.
Yes, I see.
So go to the last icon.
Slideshow?
No, not this one. The next one. And the next one. Yeah, this one. Yes. Click that slideshow.
Is it correct?
No, not this. This one's. Yeah. The other one. No. One after that. Not this one. Not the book. No. Go further. No. The next one. Slideshow? The last one. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Yeah.
So is
click
it good
that.
now? Hello?
Is it not happening?
Yeah, it's good now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, how about my voice?
Yes. Your voice is okay.
Well, okay. So again, I'm sorry for that. But once again, my PPT, my introduction today is trying to combine on the three key issues. One is how's the a living heritage or the authenticity cultural landscape, how ecotourism should be facing opportunity and challenges within the living heritage. Another one is what we do have the some of the hampering issues before pandemic in order to provide the international standards or tendency in the local level. And the third is how we are going to ambition to develop the ecotourism in the new facing area. That's the three main issue we would like to address. So the Mongolian feature is the keeping, conserving, and crowding in between two biggest empire and neighbors, between Russia and China, although within the bordering by the politically, geographically, economically empowered two neighbors, but worldwide sound specific rare animals, cultures, especially world human heritage, are conserved, developed, and transitioned by our nation. So basically, what we want to say by our world is 3,000 years of the living archaeology or alive heritage still keep and authentic within our ordinary way of livelihood. Hello?
Yes, Dr. Gana.
So, nomadic cultural world, maybe it's kind of interesting for you. How we would be able to define what is the tourism or more in a bigger
Your voice is
Sorry, Mohit? Hello? Hello?
Dr. Gana, your voice is very unclear.
I try to make it.
Dr. Gana, can you hear me?
Yes. I did it all my best to talk. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, go on, Dr. Gana. Go on, go on.
Okay. So what we have to do
Go right
define
ahead.
is, I'm not sure about how's your perception. Let's see on these three pictures. What is the leisure for the nomadic people? What is the free time? What is the feeling of being leisure in the nomads, you know? One picture we can see the nomadic ladies getting milk from the female horse, and her husband is helping a baby horse next to do that. One picture under here is nomadic men trying to catch up one of the wildest horses. Other pictures, Mongolian Kazakh nomads are happy to get training for wild eagles. How do you feel
Hello?
what is the leisure?
Problem
Will
solve
you-
হয়েছে?
Huh?
Problem solve হয়েছে? হ্যাঁ?
Hello? Okay. We have planet happy livelihood, which based on our modesty, ecological friendly, and peaceful environment. This is the tradition, this is the everyday, daily livelihood concept of the nomadic livelihood. I would call it planet happy livelihood. Of course, the way of development globally brings up more urbanization, more sense of the development way of livelihood. Behind of that, it's a key concept. We have to say it, economically and culturally balancing challenge. How could we able to be economical affordability development by not losing our cultural authenticity? So the nomadic life brings challenges and facing into city life or way of city life livelihood brings back into the authentic nomadic livelihood. Nomadic man came into the city and wandering, challenging himself, Western Merry Christmas and Western way of cultural shock. How does it keep goes on? Based on that kind of challenges, international tourism becomes one of the open sectors by diversifying economy based on our natural resources, wildlife, and cultural resources. Nomadic people naturally are very much hospitable people, and they are hosting Western tourists or any international tourists, which Mongolia was opened the door on 1990s, sorry. And of course, within that mature and general tourism flow, ecotourism is introduced. Ecotourism has been introduced to Mongolia in a way of confusing by the understanding of natural tourism, more in the sense of natural resource tourism, which is part of the diversifying world human being exploring in the wild nature. Afterwards, since 2000, we have lots of difficulties or issues according to the tourism professionals. One of them, I can able to say, lack of spatial or land use planning, because Mongolia is a country of the using their natural resource, namely mining, livestock, agriculture, cashmere or goat, etc. So due to the problems, due to the unprofessionality of the spatial and land use planning, poor resource image, overcapacity, visual pollution, etc., comes into the main flow of tourism, or I would say mass way of the touristic roads, especially the passive roles of the core stakeholders I would like to say local people and their cooperation. Business value chain is a failure. It goes into the uncompetitiveness, the more or less benefit to the local community, which are common issues, what we have to discuss in the international dialogue. One or unprofessional way of land use planning comes into the lack of the professionality on the tourist accommodation. For example, open and free landscape comes more with fencing, and the local people are confused how to develop tourism within different way of requests and different way of the was it professional audacity? I don't know. Confused way of the terminologies. Cultural imitation, following how it has to be in some of Asian countries, imitating Chinese way of the status on the free, unfencing, not semantic-based, authentic landscape. I would say that mixture of the various target markets, a conflicting between domestic and international tourists, a conflicting supply side management by the eco-friendly high-end tourists into the group and mass way of tourists from Asia or from neighborhood markets. In the end, some of the destination becomes a typical kind of the destination, bad quality in terms of wrong infrastructure, waste management, poor site planning, and poor design, color, building materials. These are all related to the lack of ecotourism development. One of the issues I would like to having addressed is authenticity and pseudo in the market economy. How the authentic living heritage on the wild earth comes into the cement-based construction. And beyond of that question, we have to address about the viability of the tourism, how it should be economically sustainable, but on the other hand, able to strengthen the originality or authenticity. We do have a beautiful Genghis Khan statue. Lots of some of the Asian or some of the foreign domestic travelers are proudly seeing and taking photos. But in fact, how Genghis Khan was growing up was on the rose, on the face, on the own natural proudness. So the issue is the policy planning strategy of how we could develop ecotourism in a way of own authentic resource, primarily having economic, commercially attractive design in the product development. So the nomadic man is attracted by the international tourists and having cigar instead of using the traditional consumption. And that we do have the big question mark confronted. What is the right way of tourism which will keep our own traditional planet-happy livelihood? What kind of standards, terminologies, what kind of strategies able to fit or able to strength beyond of that. In parallelly, there are so many different kind of the concepts, names are introduced, or I would like a little bit of the issue addressed beyond policy, power and hegemony issue of the international donor agencies. In Mongolia, we do have World Bank, Asian Development Bank, GIZ, or different kind of the JICA, etc., international or developed countries, the kind of the donor development projects introduced to the nomadic people by different kind of the names, which are quite similar, but having slightly different standards, and local people are quite confused by how it should be goes on the right way of tourism on the backbone. So, in fact, a nomadic traditional livelihood, this is the accommodation we call it there or used, alters into providing standards of the ecotourism settlement. The original authentic youth is here, and it should be provide high-end standard of the tourism, developing toilet and water consumption, and build up some cement, etc. So it pursues and it also motivates no nomading anymore. It should be settled down and be more competitive tradesmen instead of the nomadic traditional technology and consuming 400 liters of water, providing such kind of demand. So who wins? Who wins? Or how local nomads are motivated by ecotourism? Who is this? So, of course, the nomadic local people are attractive. That's why in some level of the participation, they are stakeholders into the tourism value chain. Maybe it goes into the part-time or full-time workers or partners into international and local tour operators, and a higher level can be shareholder. But the way of management being ownership or decision makers in the destination management and tourism development and locally are still missing. Of course, we do have currently all of us hampering, challenging restrictions of entire tourism sector due to the COVID pandemic. But it also increases the motivating and going into the outside wilderness and eco-friendly brand or some kind of franchise. Right now, I would like to call it again recall or revitalizing ecotourism. What we know by international definition, theoretically, it is the kind of the issue, act of balancing between short-term needs of economic development of Asia and to providing long-term need for conserving environment. And it's all about the kind of balancing between demand and supply according to the sustainable criteria or eco-friendly approaches in a big term. We all know behind of that environmental or ecological, cultural, social, managerial criteria, standards, etc. But based on the nomadic way of livelihood. For example, nomadic shamanism and Buddhistic philosophy or ideology. We could able to say that this is the way of the challenge, limiting your demand and desire, or trying to discover by yourself, because Mongolian nomadic Buddhists concerns the roots of the 3 points as a greed, hatred, and delusion. So ecotourism is a way of challenge to find your personal, especially internal world, which I center 3 poisons, what we call it, my interest, my demand, my need, what I want, my desire. I understand tourism is in their end as a thread, as a happiness. So we have to find solutions of the service. But on the other hand, it is a very important to collaborating with the tourists who can able to appreciate, understand local way of the ideological concepts. And of course, the global or regional issues which address it with ecotourism are mentioned, namely local community empowerment, poverty alleviation, climate change. We are AEN very much facing developing on best practice and green investment, of course, certification, sustainable technology or digital, intellectual technology, etc. However, what I would like to say by our concept is demand is challenged. Tourism-based local happiness. Ecotourism are willing to provide all of the needs, or is it also the challenge by the touristic demand based on the local happiness or local supplying capacity? This is the root question in order to design and in order to develop the art of the tourism, which will be everybody wins behind of that. What we believe, I believe, ecotourism empowers the local identity. That's why nomadic cultural heritage system should be or must be empowered by ecotourism. That is nomadic practical livelihood. They are moving people. Look at that picture of the camel nomads, not setting people to build up accommodation and think about how to use cement blocks. And of course, financial or economical empowerment always are issues. So where is the criteria of the happiness? Then we have to talk about capacity and other issues. And what kind of skills are empowering through the way of the correct way of ecotourism? For example, if nomad is moving, a movement, nomading is a kind of the practice to empowering the local traditional skill. It should be based on this type of the tourism, a more nomadic friendly ecotourism. So through that, I am trying to define high nomad friendly ecotourism or low nomad friendly ecotourism, etc. That is the one of the issues we have to discuss. And not only tradition, everybody should know that ecotourism enriches in general eco-friendly technology or the information technological system, alternative technologies, solar energy, wind energy, or data energy modern system, how has to be meet each other's necessities without hampering the authenticity and originality. Ecotourism value chain. It is not only how international standards requires ecotourism, but how from bottom to up, how even able to be sustained within the value chain flow. And I would like to address spirituality, land use planning, preserving of nomadic cultural proudness as a key in developing ecotourism in our countries. These are all pictures what we are developing in Mongolia. So what is the nomadic ecotourism? I would like to say it is the local people-centered management, or it is the people, it is the authentic people-focused tourism itself. I would like to introduce few examples. Case number one, Oyutolva is one of the biggest worldwide mining company under the daughter structure of the Rio Tinto worldwide mining group. And they are located in Mongolian southern Gobi Desert area. So they are introduced a cultural heritage management plan. Within this cultural heritage management, key tools or key instrument to implement cultural heritage is the tourism. $500,000 budget introduced, and locally or ministerial level, they have structured their own plan and how mining sector able to strengthen the local tourism, especially ecotourism, by the way of encouraging local people participation and guidance. Case number two, as you have probably known, timing is the one of the Earth's river-based biggest fish and one of the high-end niche market for ecotourists in a way of catch and release concept. All of the North American rich people or the West Europeans are dreaming to come to Mongolia in order to catch few items in a way of the conserving nature and having the catch and release leisure time. So time and conservation initiative as the initiated, established by Mongolian rural outfitters and fish Mongolian tourism companies, and very much collaborating with the local people in a way of introducing timing fund education to the local people and introducing protection, conserving, and also encouraging the local employment as well as social and medical projects to the local people. A stakeholder collaboration model for nomadic ecotourism in a way of the approaching between profit margin, ecological margin, risk margin, and socio-cultural margin, and putting stakeholders together, but more into focusing local people. And that's what we have defined pasture-based united interest, power exchange. Local people plays in direct role users, owners of the pasture in a way of cooperating tourism stakeholders and passing by cultural heritage and other local entrepreneurs. Test number 3, as you have very well known, Mongolia is a land of dinosaurs. This is the whole remains treasures of the dinosaurs. Why today Brussels Natural Museum, New York Wildlife Natural Museum are rich by Mongolian collections. So the Mongolian desert, Mongolian dinosaurs, a treasure for human ecology and human geography in the world. Anzac Local Information Center in Jewel is a fully established by the local communities, camel herders, and some of the village people who care about their own Gobi Desert, all of their resource treasure. And they have established their own NGO trying to establish landscape corridor management and information center here, providing local guides based on the volunteerism and professional guidance, collecting the correct way of the cash and establishing some of the corridor zone and information center under Bayandak area. It goes according to the some of the community initiative and education management correctly, I would like to say. Role of the nomadic ecotourism to empowering local education and information. That is the reason some of Mongolian areas, some initiative entities, tourism companies are supporting to conduct compulsory local education lessons in the village education regarding the local resource, ecology, cultural heritage, how local education enriching by own resource, own information to new young adults or kids in a way of empowering local identities. And it must be also fostering the information data systems and applications by that. Test number 4, shamanism, probably one of the interesting festivals in Mongolia that comes up into the spiritual solidarity. It goes to strengths and spiritual educational maintenance for environmental ethics. That's why ecotourism events, when I say ecotourism events, means based on not only ecotourism or natural resources, but also all sense, culturally, environmentally, way of participation, or even the management by the local people or stakeholder win-win cooperation. Ecotourism means ensure the local identity and local solidarity, peaceful. Monks and armies, local people are biking together and having the spiritual unity. Another case I wanted to address here is, I mentioned before about the participation of the International Donor Agency. I have a real criticize of different kind of international developed countries are using different kind of sustainable tourism concept names, responsible tourism, ecotourism, sustainable tourism, green tourism, community tourism, community-based tourism. All of these kind of concepts and related standards are confuse and the way of the lack participation by the local people. But that is one of the good examples from the UNDP by Page international project that is trying to establish care and nature concept, which is in line with nomadic ecotourism, based on different kind of the concept, and it has to be related with the free man issue, innovation, digitalization, one of the critical issues that we have to think about for ecotourism development, and of course the traditional and man issue related with nomadic natural culture conservation and involvement of local people, and of course the rules, regulation, standard, certification, and matching between the capacity and market. That's why the way of the herders environment do updated, advanced network innovation, sustainable environment development and certification, how it should be able to be developed and how it should be in the future by the way of the, for example, alternative, the booking system through internet and so on. Through that way, we are trying using internet-based technology, trying to keep in matching between mainstream or mass wave tourism and ecotourism specific segment, and cooperating with local tourism coordinator in a way of keeping, or in a way of involving general value chains by local nomadic trade system. That's why I would like to draw the ecotourism strategy should be included that kind of components according to Mongolian roof of the Mongolian gear. And structure is not should be like Western way of the table. Westerns are bring up in the box and then how we can able to integrate to each other. But ours, it is there in the roof. If you can remember Mongolian gear or used in the one small road or system, how we going to be very rich, very strength the traditional roots of these kind of sections being more together, more a livelihood. So the ecotourism business after pandemic are really challenging. But this is not necessarily the ecotourism, but in generally tourism. I'm hoping and sure this is not only Mongolian circumstances, this is the international tourism laws are still uncertainty, increased costs, especially from supply side, very much shortage of the human resource, and in shortage of the income of the conversation and conservation, and reduced services, probably be certain periods, and reducing users, reduced staff numbers. It's not only temporarily, but probably permanently. Shut down lots of the operations, minimizing costs, and while staying ready to open, reduced business costs, a high commissions paid, adapted products to meet with needs of local and domestic visitors, but also for the international high-end market or the mainstream market together, lacking of funding wildlife conservation, gap in between rich and poor locals by destroying spatial planning, market mixture with high-end tourists. Plus, I would like to say international information technology or the booking systems, how it should be, goals and roles of the tour operator among the value chain. And ecotourism in revival concepts I would like to call it many times nomadic ecotrail, which is matching with the Mongolian traditional cultural landscape. This is the practical tool, conserves the natural and cultural landscape, but it fosters in generally sustainable development, which match with the global requirement or discussion. So nomadic ecotourism principles are matching with international dialogue, for example, next to this one. And we are addressing community initiatives and local NGO empowerments. Of course, the accessing, cooperating with local SMEs or eco-friendly entrepreneurs, fostering, targeting correct way of the market segments, financially or managerial good policy to support alternative energy source and local service sectors. Of course, eco-community, a lot of the brandings for the food, tourism, local, natural, organic, biological foods, keeping alternatives, authenticity by also ensuring the general high-end tastes, etc. And I would say nomadic ecotourism is local people focused tourism concept. It is how we're going to keep and conserve the natural wildlife and eco-friendly landscape through the empowering local people in order to operating with local people, in order to ownership in local people. But this is not only just the words of the local people centered, but it's a way of the conserving the comfort zone of the local people livelihood. It is the policy and managerial also practical tool. So in the end, to the market, we are promoting unlocking your own limits, own center, I center, my wish, I need this, I need 200 liters of water, why the shower demand, etc., and boosting your spirituality by harmonizing with people and wilderness. Of course, based on this kind of policy, we are promoting to our passion and real competitive advantages and keeping refocusing, re-strengthening our unique sales proposition, USP, and supporting targeting high-quality products and first sustainable investments through all value chain stages. And in general, sustainable industry, this is not only the ecotourism issue, but in a whole sense, spread benefits to all the players and build brand identity. And I am, ladies and gentlemen, concluding and discussing some of the areas which are bolded here. Discipline, age of the technology. We don't have risks, sacrifice consumer privacy, and increasing power of the governments and small number of the companies, or missed opportunity to address systemic failures of tourism and economic systems. But opportunity, smarter systems can drive operational efficiency at the business level, and this could increase efficiency. For example, reducing wastage. Maybe digital systems can optimize resource use at network. Second, compete or retreat. Is it end of the globalization? Risks, for example, competing approaches to sustainability and multiply different standards that are confusing international consumers and local people participation, limiting exchange of information, data, and knowledge, hampering progress on finding most effective eco-sustainable solutions. But probably opportunity is increasing localism and community resilience slowly, revival of cultural practice and identity. But still, I'm concerned about unsettled. Crises can be still our new normal. Mounting economic damage from crises, forcing actors into responsive pattern, eroding practice, and long-term measure toward sustainability. Multi-crisis management will be very costly and needs time. But on the other hand, opportunity destinations with closer markets may be beneficial as a people still want to holiday, even just so far away from home. And people might still demanding authentic experience that ground them into authentic wild nature or culture. So new products around healing, food, well-being, and health tourism might be high in demand. And ecotourism mindset of the transformation, collective action, both locally and globally, required across all types of actors. It should be from anthropocentrism to environmental ethics, from growth paradigm to one of the stewardship and abandoning notion of price to make way of our value. So for a company that serves society, profit is the means, not goal in itself. So well-being is a full matter of the measure. Thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate all of the participation, your time, and our AEN friends, colleagues, Mr. Mohit, and all of your staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gana.
Finish.
Yeah, I'm just sort of closing your presentation so that
Wait,
yes.
is it finished now?
Yeah, it's finished. I want to invite people to ask questions. There is one comment by Anne here. She's talking about the anthropogenic effect. You know, if we do not take nature tourism, nature conservation as one of the dimensions, and if it's only people-centric, then she fears that it will lead to degeneration of nature. So, so the comment is here. This is my interpretation, but I can read out the comment, what she said, and you can then give your reply in that. She says, I do have a comment when you say that nomadic ecotourism should have local people as focus center. I'm afraid that this will lead to an anthropogenic approach. Local people should be involved and even consulted about ecotourism projects, but nature protection should also be included and viewed as another focus of ecotourism in Mongolia.
Well, that's one of the discussions. I would like to thanks Anna Camille, your concern and comments. Actually, as I've seen that Mongolia is a developing country based on the all human activity, based on the natural resource, namely mining, livestock, and tourism. These three sectors requires very professional land use planning, without hampering to each other. In my own understanding, by anthropogenic approach is a human impacting issues, and this is right. When I'm saying the local nomadic focused center ecotourism means I'm very much trying to explain way of the consultation, a way of the traditional knowledge, know-how, especially practice, should be under concentrated without so much increasing, maximizing, too much overloading the local people, but or one single person. That's why the rebalancing in between the professional consultation, local roots, community participation should be balanced on that. And I am very much concerned about when local people are operating in the tourism product development. They are mostly limited by the attraction of the tourism products, or even just being assistant workers of the tourism products by controlled and not happily within the tourism value chain.
Okay, I think, yeah, I agree with what Dr. Gana said, and I think it was a brilliant, absolutely brilliant presentation. Dr. Gana, I'm sorry about the glitches that technology has caused, in your presentation, and then some people had a problem with listening to the sound properly. Anyway, my point is that this is a series of webinars that we will be carrying on in future as well. And people who are seriously interested in knowing about these case studies will have to send out their questions to us, and we should be able to take them further. Do I have your permission, Dr. Gana, to share your email ID with the participants here, just in case if they want to get in touch with you for information?
That's my great honor. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And friends, I'm also posting the link of Asian Ecotourism Network that has been, that is committed to bringing you these webinars month on month from different parts of Asia to highlight case studies, to learn more from these webinars. See if you'd like to become a member. If you become a member, then there are certain privileges in the future. And if you'd like to just be there for the webinars, you're most welcome to do it. I've shared the link for everyone to participate in it. And if you've got any ideas for us, we'd be very happy to take them forward. In the meantime, if anybody would like to have a recording of the webinar, very soon we will put this webinar up on YouTube, and you people who missed out, or people who left halfway through, or people who did not join in right in the beginning will have a chance to hear Dr. Gana's presentation again and see it themselves. And I think what he's tried to cover in last 1 hour is only the tip of the iceberg. There is so much. I personally have known Dr. Gana for a long time, and I think the amount that he can deliver in terms of Mongolia is limitless. But since we had a limited time, and this is all that we can do through technology, it might be important to even plan a trip sometime and travel with Dr. Gana to Mongolia. I mean, that's my aspiration, and I'm definitely going to do it in the next 2 years, right? So friends, if you've got any more questions to ask, go right ahead. Or if you think that there's anything that you need to interact with directly with Dr. Gana, I posted his email ID, and I would like to say thank you very much for taking your time out and listening to Dr. Gana. Dr. Gana, you've been very supportive. You've put in a lot of hard work to put this presentation together, taking out time and to do this. And also the Asian Ecotourism Network, people who've been working behind the scenes along with my team. I'm in deep gratitude, and I'd like to say thank you to them.
I really highly appreciate all of your participation, your time, and interest of the ecotourism development in Asian different kind of the countries with the different cultural heritage circumstances. We can talk about ecotourism many more hours in generally, but I'm always concerned about how ecotourism, or in a way of big term, sustainable tourism, could be grounded in the different cultural circumstances, having balancing in between general measures. And I also personally appreciate Mr. Mohit and your very kind guidance, and also role of the supporting, updating it in all of my AEN friends. If you have interest to Asian Ecotourism Network, I highly appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, my friends. So we will see you next month for the next webinar. We'll keep you informed. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Gana. Bye, Mohit. Thank you.